Commence primary ignition.
Hey, this is Katie O'Brien, and you're watching the Virtual Cantina Network.
Cheers, Katie.
Happy Monday, Rebels. Hello, everyone.
Hey,
Thanks for joining
everybody.
us. So, Ashley is a little under the weather, so I think I'm going to do more of the heavy lifting today as
All good.
Ashley drinks her tea.
Hi,
Um,
Jen.
hello, hello. Hi, Jen. Um, I know it's President's Day, so I hope everyone either had a nice day off or is relaxing, enjoying a nice long 3-day weekend. I got to tell you, it felt like a 3-day weekend. I did have work today. Hi, Sherry. How
Hi,
you doing?
Sherry.
Um, I had a friend's birthday brunch on Saturday and then
That
went
looks
out
like
again on
so much
Sunday.
fun.
Oh, such a good time. We had like
So
12 of
much
us there
fun.
at brunch. Those are mostly the boys that I'm going to Puerto Vallarta with, also for Jason's birthday in March. So even though it wasn't everyone, we ended up having a lot of Puerto Vallarta conversation in sort of smaller groups about
That's
planning and
next
everything.
month.
I know it's 3 weeks. It's less than. It's actually 2.5 weeks away. We leave on Thursday, March 7th. So it is
Oh,
so
wow.
soon. It's 2 full work weeks and a couple days. And believe me when I say I'm in countdown mode. So I'm ready for a
Right.
sleeveless T-shirt to be on a beach. Um, drinking a vodka, swimming in the ocean, maybe all at the same time. So we'll see. I got to escape this weather because there was yet more snow in New York City this weekend. It snowed on Friday.
I know. Oh, my God. It
As I
was
scream into
awful.
the as I scream to the YouTube as if it had anything to do with it.
It's not your fault, YouTube.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
what you did. No, I was driving home on Saturday because I had it off, but I went out for a while and I was driving home and it was like snow globe snow, like ice balls. And
yeah,
then by the time I got back to my hometown, it was like full on huge flake snow. And I'm like, geez, we got another 2 inches. It was just like, we weren't even supposed to get snow that late in the day. It was just insane. So,
yeah. I'm
uh,
over it. I am over winter, etc. Yeah,
I
it's
am
too
over
much.
this.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So over this. Like summer colds suck, but like repeated sickness in the winter is the absolute worst. And I'm really sorry, you guys. I apologize for my craptacular voice this week, but I love you and I wanted to be here. So,
Yeah, it'll be fine. We will make do.
right.
We have some great stuff to cover.
Yeah.
Um, before we get into our Rebels episode, which is a Hera fantastic episode. Like this
Yeah.
is one of the best. We get to meet the rest of the Syndulas, which we shouldn't say meet, catch back up with because we've met Cham before. Hey Spencer, hey Dave.
Hey
Um,
guys.
yeah, yes, you can have some snow, Dave. Uh,
Have all the
yeah,
snow. Thank you.
we're gonna have a nice time watching uh, a very Hera centric episode of Rebels. First, we're gonna do our little pop culture roundup as we've been doing on our Mondays since we kick off the week. And by the way, it is Bad Batch week here on the network, so we have a lot of Bad Batch to
So
talk about.
stoked. So
It's gonna
stoked.
be it's gonna be
Yeah.
a blast. I'm so ready for Wednesday night.
Yeah.
With that in mind, so you may have seen on Instagram the original post. We had a minor typo, we'll say. There is not a new episode of Daughters of the Galaxy this Wednesday. We're going to be doing a rerun of the Hera episode because we figured everyone's going to want to come home from work and watch The Bad Batch. So
Yeah.
we don't want to intersect with your other watching needs. And then the boys on the network, we've got Bryce and Mike and John have the Bad Batch after show happening on Friday. So there's a lot of Bad Batch coverage happening this week, and then next week we'll be doing watch-alongs on Thursday. So Bad Batch is really ramping up over here.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited. I was watching the video today of D. Bradley Baker and Michelle Ang playing with their
Mhm.
action figures, and it was
Oh,
so
that's
funny.
fun.
So
Yeah,
funny.
I love D. D is just the best.
He's a big
Um,
kid. I love it. And he's coming back as Appa. So we have,
oh, that's
speaking of
exciting.
D, Avatar: The Last Airbender premieres on Netflix this week on,
Is
I
it
think
this week
it's
already?
yeah, the 22nd.
I should know that
So,
because I have that license. We do the Halloween
Excited Friday.
costumes. I should be aware.
So excited. So, it sounds like D is back as Appa because I did a little clip where, um, Aang's looking for Appa, and I guess he's not trapped in the ice with him or something, at least it looks like. So, I'm excited to see where that goes. And they also played a little clip of Zuko rescuing Uncle Iroh from the Earthbenders. Um, so that was a fun episode, and
Oh,
it's
I saw
so
that
crazy.
with them
S-
fighting it was the fire kicks and everything. He was getting
Yeah. Oh
rescued
my
from the wagon.
God.
Yeah,
So good. That's the episode where they're like just chilling in the Earth Kingdom, and he gets kidnapped while he's having a spa day, and
that's
it's
awesome.
funny. And it's just crazy to see it in live action.
It looks really good. You know, sometimes I get really nervous about animation translating to live action because can you do the special effects justice, all that
Oh
kind of
yeah.
stuff. This looks really well done. It looks expensive in a good way. So I'm excited about Avatar. I love the original cartoon, of course. I think it's one of those timeless classics that we're going to talk about as we think about the history of animation. Avatar has a place in it, and it'll be
Absolutely.
forever talked about on like listicles and things. Will the live action live up to it? Is a question, mostly because if they pick up the story exactly as is, what are we doing? What are we adding to
Right.
it? But if they change it dramatically, there will be hell to pay. There's a damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Right.
So, which is why when I
As
first heard about them doing the live action series, I heard it was a continuation. And now I'm hearing that it is a
It was
retelling.
supposed to be because, the creators, Brian Konietzko and Michael Dante DiMartino, had planned on doing it that way, and,
Mhm.
they just wanted, like, to get new people on board. It was kind of like
Yeah,
things are crossed, and they wanted to tell the story they wanted to tell, so Nickelodeon gave them their own animation studio,
that,
um,
yes. And
Avatar
so I know there's
Studios,
a sequel
and
coming in animation form
yes,
now. Yeah,
so there's at least 2 or 3 big animated projects coming from them in the years to come, so I'm
very
so stoked
exciting.
for that.
Long live animation.
Yeah,
And with that,
absolutely.
it looks like we have some questions and some comments about Bad Batch. So, does Crosshair get a redemption? Is what Dave is asking in season 3. I'm gonna bet yes. Here's the thing: I like Crosshair a lot. I think he's one of my favorite characters. He's also queer coded, and there aren't a lot of LGBTQ characters. I always talk about the pig and the chicken from Resistance. It's my favorite go-to. I don't think he's actually gay, but he's definitely queer, like
Right.
presenting in that sense.
Yeah,
And I also think Disney loves a redemption story. And I think with him being in the same prison as Omega, they will have to team up. And
right,
he already started making his face turn by killing that one Imperial last season anyway. So the redemption has begun.
right.
So I think that's happening. You agree, Ashley?
I definitely do. I think he's starting to see cracks in the good soldiers follow orders
Yeah.
mantra, and, obviously, especially teaming up with Cody and teaming up with, I'm sorry, I can't remember that soldier's name, um, and realizing that the Empire really does not care about
Yeah.
clones or about anybody but
It's
themselves,
disposable. Yeah.
and it's just shocking to him, and I hope it just kind of steers him back in the right direction.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think once he gets reunited with the rest of the crew,
yeah.
yeah, and Cody going AWOL, like Sherry just said,
Yeah.
definitely had an effect there. Sherry, it looks like you've also been rewatching season 2. I have actually not
Yeah.
gotten there. I was very busy this weekend with all of my social activities. I feel so fancy.
Oh,
Um, and every night last week was something too, with whether it was like watching something or needing to do something. Jason was also sick, like, and
oh,
he just started a
no.
new job. So it's like everyone's sick right now, by the way.
Oh
It's a,
my
it's a nightmare.
god, no.
Um, so I am going to start rewatching season 2 in tandem with the premiere of season 3. And with that, I know there's a million things going on in the network with Bad Batch coverage. Just so you know, Rebels Revisited is going to do our own Bad Batch episodes 1 through 3,
Yeah.
like a little recap next Monday. So it's not going to be the same as the after show with Bryce and Mike and John. Like they're going to do full analysis, and they're going to give you the weekly update, kind of like they did with the Ahsoka show. Um, we're going to really talk about like how does it connect to Rebels and animation, because that's really our thing. Yes, oh, here we go. We finally have a graphic for this. So it is basically the Jedi Archives team. So if you're a fan of that show, it'll be great to see these guys. Like I love the Ahsoka after show that they did.
Oh
So
yeah, it
I'm
was
excited
so
about
fun.
them tackling Bad Batch because they know
So
their
fun.
stuff. So, but we are going to do our own little just for the premiere, and then we'll probably come back midway through the season around the mid-season. There's like a mid-season, like we'll say finale slash premiere, and then we'll come back at the very end as well. So we'll check in. We'll check in with the Bad Batch sporadically, I guess.
Yeah.
And then did want to mention this comment before it gets lost. D. Bradley Baker, as Spencer mentioned, will be at Rhode Island Comic Con in 2023. It's never too early to buy your
2024.
tickets to Rhode Island Comic Con and get situated and plan
Yeah.
for the big VCN meetup, because it is the silver medal event of the year, without a doubt.
It's so much fun. And
Mhm.
we have a good time at the Virtual Cantina meetups too.
Yeah.
So um fantastic Star Wars presence. Good people show up for it. So it's definitely worth going to.
Yeah, it is. It's one of my favorite things. One of my favorite conventions. So much fun last year hanging out with everyone. The meetup was
Yeah.
awesome. Dave is asking how many episodes are in this season of The Bad Batch. I
15.
do think it is 15 or 16.
Yeah.
There is a graphic that Lucasfilm put up with all of the titles, and I think we have descriptions for just about all of them.
I
Um,
haven't read them. Yeah,
Yep.
15.
Oh, here we go. Thursday, May 2nd is the day after, because I guess Wednesday, May 1st is the finale of episode 15 of Bad Batch. So basically takes us through May the 4th, which I think is
Oh,
great timing. It's kind of crazy how fast that stuff like sort of sneaks up on you.
so another thing I wanted to mention while we're talking about animation, today is the anniversary of Jedi Knight. I believe
Oh,
it's the 6th anniversary of Jedi Knight.
I can't start like
Ugh,
anniversarying every episode. I'm gonna
I know, but
fall
that
into the
was
abyss.
that was
Yeah.
changing. That changed
Yeah.
everything for
It
us.
is. It is the episode we knew had to happen, and yet you know when you just like can't, you're just in denial about it. Like we all know Kanan has to die, but I was also in denial about it for the longest time, where I was like, I don't want him to. They can just send him away. The same thing I felt about Rogue One going into that movie. I was like, everyone has to die, but then I was like, maybe they'll just go live on a different planet, and they were busy. Like like where was Mon Mothma during A New Hope? Right? They've retconned that now, saying like, oh yeah, she was there, and she was forced to flee because you can't have all the leaders of the rebellion in the same location. It's like how the royal family doesn't travel together,
And
right?
the
That
presidency. Yeah,
yeah, that makes perfect logical sense.
right.
Obviously, she didn't exist when A New Hope was written, so again, retcon, but like it makes logical sense. I was thinking there must be a logical way out of us killing Kanan, and then I was like, no, the only way to really hit the story beat and to like, you know, to take us there is to kill him. So,
No,
but
him
yeah,
pulling away from them and then getting really interesting with the Force and everything was
yeah,
just like, "Oh, no. Oh,
some of the
no.
best episodes in
Oh,
the whole
no."
series, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes, Sherry, you are correct. It is a sad day in Rebel history, but also one of the best episodes we ever saw. So this is the
Yeah,
give and take, right? You give it one
uh,
hand and you smack with the other. It was like, here's some of the best television you'll ever watch, and you're going to cry about it.
forever.
So yeah,
You'll never
forever and
be
ever.
okay. You will be, like, weeping openly at Freddie Prinze Jr.'s table and
Yeah,
hugging Vanessa Marshall tightly every time you see her.
yeah. That poor cast. They just must just get trauma dumped on like all the time. Like it's very that. But
Damn.
it's the power of this storytelling. And again, coming back to animation. Um, in other animation news, the big news from last week. Oh my God, the X-Men '97 trailer. Did anyone else like lose
Yes.
their damn minds when this thing dropped earlier in the week? I'm assuming everyone on here is around our age.
Yeah.
I must have watched it 25 times, like just like going beat by beat and pausing. And then I watched all the wraparound content. The thing's a minute long. There are 35 YouTube videos that are an hour long dissecting
I
what
have
happened in
beef with
X-Men
Screen
97.
Crush, though. I have beef with Screen Crush.
What's your contentious point with him?
Okay.
Because I thought he was right on.
No, not entirely. So the shot of them all in the Blackbird, and he goes, "Oh, see that white-faced person with the leather jacket? Um, he's this character." And I'm like, "No, that's Morph.
That's
That's the."
Morph.
But he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, he's this character," and I'm like, "No, I'm pretty sure he isn't that
Oh, he
character."
did misidentify Morph.
And I
Yes.
was like, he changed his
Yeah.
face, obviously, because
Yep.
He looks more like Morph from Age of Apocalypse. If you've read the Age of Apocalypse
Yes.
comics, they changed Morph, who was a bowl cut haired man
Hmm.
in the
White guy with
original,
brown hair, very
yeah,
generic looking. Yeah.
leather jacket in the
Yeah.
X-Men, the original X-Men animated series. But they changed him to look his facial appearance looks like more from the Age of Apocalypse series, and they kept the leather jacket, which I thought was really cool too. So that was
Yeah.
exciting. But I know a lot of people are up in arms about Morph being non-binary, and I'm like, he's a shapeshifter.
He's a
It's the same thing
shapeshifter.
with
Yeah.
Mystique. Mystique is like,
Yeah.
just get over it. The X-Men is all about inclusion. It's why they were created, to combat racism and
Yeah. Racism,
chaos in the world.
misogyny, and homophobia are like the
Yeah,
actual villains in the X-Men books. It's, the other
seriously. Read a
people.
book.
Yeah. I did see, so the discourse around X-Men, it's funny how quickly discourse happens, right? Like the trailer drops, people lose their mind. People start looking for Easter eggs. People start investigating because I actually wasn't sure if that was Morph because Morph doesn't actually do any morphing and he actually doesn't have any dialogue. Like, and by the way, I should be saying they do not have any dialogue or any activity in the trailer, honestly, and honestly, neither does Bishop. Bishop like powers up at one point. You see the pink magic, which was really
That was
cool.
so cool.
It looked
So cool.
beautiful. I thought the standout moments from the trailer were really one, the big pose of all of them like storming into the headmaster's office in their basketball gear. Cause I was like, this is some 90s nonsense. I was
So
like, where's your
90s.
swimsuit issue? Like, it just brought me back to those
I
like
had that
X-Men
poster.
90s. Yes, everyone
Jim
did.
Lee.
Every queer kid too had that too. It was the kind of thing where I was like, X-Men like spoke to us in a way that I think like all the straight people like them too, but at the same time, like the queer kids also had the X-Men in our own special way. Um,
Seriously, yeah.
but like the X-Men 90s aesthetic, like Scott in the sleeveless tee, Wolverine shirtless, Jean Grey in her full-on referee gear. And she called that game like straight down the middle. Like she was
She can
not
read
playing
minds.
favorites,
She's
you
good.
know. Jubilee sunglasses, like Storm's mohawk. I mean,
By the
there's
way, the
something.
mohawk is a welcome change. Like, I absolutely love Storm
Oh, I
rocking
see.
the shit out of that
I'm
mohawk.
I'm ambivalent on her hair. Like my feeling is I just like it when she's in charge. My
Yeah,
only gripe with the 90s X-Men is that her leadership comes and goes in these little pockets, whereas Scott is always sort of like the chosen one of like who's going to lead the team. I kind of like it when like Storm is just like running things. Like
yeah,
she gets it done.
she's
Um
beast. Yeah,
so yeah, I'm all in for Storm and like I'm wondering just how far they're going to take the next series of stories. Like will they do
right.
things outside of the classics that we know that came before the 93 or 95, 96 like animated series? Like, would you tackle a House of M? Like, would you go into the more recent stories or would you continue where you were in the comics? Um, Dave is bringing up a question about the voice actors, saying he was not thrilled about Wolverine's
Yeah.
voice. I will say there's a couple people being recast, and then there's a couple people who are returning. Like, Ashley, you met Lenore, you were saying, the woman who plays Rogue.
I wanted to. I was so nervous because, like, Rogue is my favorite X-Men,
Hmm.
like, hands down. I had Rogue hair, let my natural light brown grow out, and bleached the shit out of the front,
I
so
love that.
I had that for 4 or 5 years of my life in the last 10 years. Um, but, like, that character means so much to me, and I was so
Hmm.
nervous to go up to Lenore's table at Rhode Island because they had the big X-Men cast reunion,
Yeah.
and Cal
Yeah, that was
Dodd
this
was
past year.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cal Dodd was there, he plays Wolverine. George, I can't remember his last name, but he plays Beast.
Mhm.
The original voice of Jubilee and also, like, the voice of the clown chick in, the big comfy chair the comfy chair
I
show.
have
It's
no
like a
idea.
kid's show. Like, she had a clown nose, and she had a little
Okay.
doll. Um, she was there, but apparently, the man who played, Cyclops passed away,
Oh, I didn't know that.
so they had to recast him.
I
That's why
knew there
he
were a
sounds
couple of
different.
recasts, and I knew some of them were because of retirement or passing. I didn't get
Yeah,
to the specifics because as I was see, I didn't follow a lot of these voice actors' careers after the fact. Like I couldn't name them for you, whereas I could for a lot of the '80s cartoons.
yeah,
But I actually, funny enough, Scott I thought sounded very similar to the
yeah,
Scott from the '90s, and I don't know, maybe the guy is just doing a very good impression.
yeah, he is.
But he sounded good. Yeah, I thought in general it captured the right tone.
Yeah,
Look, I'm
loved it.
always Team Magneto. I got to tell you, like I in the
Oh, that
Charles
actor
versus
passed away too.
Yep.
So,
I knew that he was new. Um, Charles versus Eric, I think, is the eternal struggle of X-Men. It's an XY axis. It's Charles versus Eric, which is like who believes in humanity and who believes in mutant superiority, and then the X-Men versus bigoted humans, right? Like those are the sort of XY axis of conflicts.
but also you
I'm
have the
excited.
Brotherhood of Evil Mutants who are
Yeah,
just kind of
aligned with yeah, and they're
Magneto.
aligned with
Yeah.
Magneto. My big thing that I'm wondering now is will Magneto sort of be a good guy in this new series? Because I
I
kind of
don't
hope not.
know.
I like it when I love evil Magneto. He is my favorite villain like of all Marvel. Like all Marvel villains, like I'm talking about Avengers villains, Spider-Man villains, X-Men villains. He outranks all of them. He beats Doctor Doom, he beats Galactus, he beats Kang. Like he's my number one Magneto. I agree with him. I want to subscribe to his newsletter. I will be joining the Hellfire Club and the Evil Brotherhood and whatever else. So I'm in. And I
By the
and I get
way, that Daily Bugle article about the Hellfire Gala, if it's gonna have some of those swanky costumes in it, like the
yeah,
comics had, sign me
yeah,
up. Those are
I'm into it. I think it's
brilliant
gonna be great.
designs.
David is also pointing out that like Jean Grey was pregnant in that trailer. So there's a lot to be
No, I
said
didn't even see
about
that.
I missed it at first until I think it was King Kush or someone pointed it out. There are a few different options as to who the baby could be. Obviously, I'm hoping it's Hope because I think she brings the least terrible news. Um,
Uh,
but
yeah.
yeah, Jean Grey being pregnant. Look, Scott and Jean's kids. Two of them are messiahs. One of them is a destroyer. I don't remember like the details, but Hope Summers seems like the least problematic. I think Cable is not actually biologically hers, but is biologically Scott's. I lose track. The comics are wild.
Yeah,
Um,
Cable is, Madeline and Scott's
Scott
son,
and yeah, Scott and Madeline.
but
Okay.
Madeline was a clone of Jean.
Yes, this is what I mean. The comics are insane. So
Ooh,
whoever the
yeah,
baby is, I mean, having a baby during a time of crisis is never great, and the X-Men are always in crisis. Otherwise, we wouldn't be watching, right? If there wasn't like an ever ongoing war. And my understanding is that with Charles, at least not dead, but like missing at the moment, he's off in space, getting healed.
by the Shi'ar,
Potentially,
yes.
yeah, potentially. How long he'll be gone, we don't know. Um, Magneto's probably filling his role. Who's the big villain? The rumors are that it might be Apocalypse. Um, like Apocalypse was vanquished pretty easily in the original animation, and it was a very quick story. Whereas like he's a much bigger threat in all the comics and everything else, right? Like you probably know better than me.
Oh,
Like
yeah, that's why they have
Apocalypse
Age of
is
Apocalypse, it's
yeah. I
um,
think that if he comes back, like you don't want to be bringing a baby into the world where like apocalypse is happening. So, um,
right.
yeah. Anyway, that's X Men. Either way, we're super excited about that. And then the other big news, of course, last week, which hit the Star Wars fandom in a huge way, because of Pedro Pascal, the Fantastic Forecasting has finally been announced.
Yes, so we have on top of Pedro playing, our fantastic scientist, Reed Richards, we have, oh my god, I'm blanking on her name. Why is this so
I've
bad?
got them all over here.
Okay,
So Vanessa
go ahead.
Kirby is
Vanessa Kirby,
playing
that's it. I was
Sue
gonna say, is
Storm,
it Kirby something?
the Invisible Woman, and
Yeah.
she's from Hobbs and Shaw and a bunch of other things I didn't recognize.
Mission
But
Impossible, yeah.
she's been on a bunch of those listicles of like not quite fan casting, but like YouTuber boys who are like, who do we think is in contention for this role and who would really do a good job with it? Like she's been on a
Right.
bunch of listicles, so she seems like in some ways an obvious casting and a good one. Like
Yeah,
people are really happy about Vanessa.
yeah. Um, we
And
also
then we
have
have oh, go ahead.
Joseph Quinn
Hmm.
from Stranger Things. He played Eddie, and
Yep.
he's going to be, Johnny Storm, which will
Yep.
be interesting. And
So his is probably the most contentious because I
yeah.
think people don't realize that um, Joseph Quinn is actually very sexy, and I think they see him as Eddie Munson, who is very ridiculous looking.
Yeah,
And
but us as nerds, like, we love Eddie because he was, like,
sure, but
a
he's
fantastic nerd, but
people are putting pictures of him next to Chris Evans and Michael B. Jordan, being like one of these things is not like the other,
oh,
which is
shut
not
up.
really true. I
Shut
think
up,
he's
people.
equally good looking. He's just but here's the thing, we've been in love with Chris Evans and Michael B. Jordan now for so long. No
Yes.
one was gonna win a comparison next to them unless it was like the who's the one from The Bear? Not Ibn Moss Backrack, the other one.
Jeremy Allen
Yeah.
White.
That's the
Yeah.
one who's in all the Calvin Klein ads right now. He was actually on a bunch of fan casts for Johnny Storm, which is funny that
Really?
someone else from The Bear is
Yeah.
now in the
So
movie. Yeah.
I absolutely adore Ebon Moss-Backrack.
Mhm.
He was Micro in the Punisher Netflix series.
Oh, I
That's where
forgot
I
about
first
that.
knew him, and he was also on Andor. He was the
Yep.
traitor on Andor in season 1. So he's also on The Bear right now. He's going to be playing Ben Grimm, the Thing. So I've seen a lot of people be up in arms, like, "Oh, it's a Jewish guy finally playing a Jewish character. It makes
Mhm.
sense." And I'm like, "That's awesome. That's
Yep.
the representation we need. Like, that's all we care about."
Yeah.
And
We want it to be the right casting.
but the
Um,
grumbling over Pedro being like, "Oh, Pedro's in everything." Like, just shut up and let the man get his roses, okay?
yeah.
It's fine.
Pedro has proven time and time again that he can kind of do anything. I mean, The
Yeah.
Mandalorian and The Last of Us, and like I just I I see him taking on interesting,
Yeah.
weird projects that are like kind of out there, and then
Yeah.
you know this probably
But
feels like his biggest like popcorn movie
I
moment.
I feel like I really loved him on SNL, especially as, like, the Spanish grandma. He was or
Oh
Spanish
my god,
mom.
with
He was so
the
funny.
sewing kit pouring out the
Yeah.
cookies. So stupid. Yeah.
"My son does not have ADD.
Yeah.
He just likes to jump." So
Sherry,
it's
I
crazy.
agree with you, Sherry. I will watch anything
Yes,
with Pedro
and he's
Pascal.
proven he's got the
Yeah.
range. He can do comedy, that and the, Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent is funny as hell.
Mhm.
He can do drama with The Last of Us and The Mandalorian. Like, I don't know, those scenes with Grogu, if you didn't cry, you have no soul.
Yeah.
Just saying.
And he I think he's in a good role because this Fantastic Four iteration looks a little like light and playful, just based on the fact that it was a Valentine's card that announced
Yeah.
with, and that silly robot is there, and there's just like a lightness to it. Like I've seen a
It's
lot
like
of movie
WandaVision
announcements.
almost, which
Yeah.
kinda made me nervous.
Well, I mean, they're gonna try to swerve us, of course, but like every casting announcement in every Marvel movie is like serious as a heart attack. And then this one came in feeling like very like chill and silly and
Fun,
yeah, like
like
yeah, exactly,
comic
fun.
booky.
Yeah, exactly. I felt like a comic book movie.
Yeah.
So I have high hopes. Before kicking into the episode, by the way, we are gonna start the Rebels episode in 2 minutes. We have to talk about Madam Web for a second. Oh my god. Um,
Ugh.
I just want to put out a PSA to everyone in the chat to just do yourself a favor and don't go see Madam Web. And I would normally not tell people not to see a movie. I don't want to, I don't like saying negative things about things, but the Rotten Tomato score and the YouTube reviews is like people, even people who are generally positive can't find like anything good about this movie.
The
Um,
the meme going around was like, one of these facts didn't happen in the movie, and it's like a list of these crazy random things, and anyone who's seen it is posting it and is like, "Oh, no, those are all true. Those are all happening in the movie,"
yeah,
and I'm like,
it's bonkers. Um,
"Ugh,
Yeah,
crazy."
I'm disappointed because I really want the Sony Spider-Verse that's adjacent to whatever to really work.
Yeah.
Like I like the first Venom enough. I didn't like part 2. I obviously didn't oh my god, what's the vampire one with Matt Smith? Why am I already blanking?
Morbius.
Morbius. Yeah.
Morbid in Time.
Like yeah, oh. So hit or miss. And my concern is like I have a couple concerns.
Oh my god,
But
Dave. Dave says, "Franklin Richards anyone, Pedro needs a baby to take care of."
I hope that there are no kids in the Fantastic. This is too I think that we're not
We're
there
gonna
yet.
start call.
I don't think we're there yet for the Fantastic Four to be, are they even married yet in this iteration? We don't know.
We don't
I mean, they
know.
could be. Yeah,
Yeah, they got married in the 2000 something, so
yeah, right. The wedding was like the opening premise of like the second movie. So in the
yeah,
first movie, they were just dating. I think that's perfectly fine. I don't necessarily need an origin story, but I also
yeah.
don't want to jump in where they already have kids. Like I think, although I will say he's a little bit older than she is. So it wouldn't be super surprising if they were already married and maybe they were trying for kids. Like that could be an interesting premise, being like, I'm a superhero, I can't have a baby. Like that's an
'Cause it's
interesting
space
story.
race. Yeah,
Or not even that, like, just, how do you be a mom and a superhero? Like,
yeah.
that would be a really interesting story. Could Sue Storm be the lead? Could that be a thing? Like, that would be an interesting swerve.
Yeah.
I would follow a Sue Storm movie because I feel
It
like
was
they
a
just
Ben
keep
Grimm
making
led
her like,
movie, so that made sense.
yeah. Look, my feeling is I have so many concerns. Um, Oftentimes Sue Storm is the wife, the sister, the mom, but she's never just the Invisible Woman, right? Like she's like literally doing all these roles.
And that's why The
Um,
Incredibles is the way it is because of Sue Storm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, but okay, I'm coming back real quick to Madam Web. What I don't want happening, the superhero fatigue continues, and
Yep.
female-led superhero movies that bomb. Like, although I don't think anyone's going to blame Dakota Johnson, although that press tour is some of the most entertaining stuff I've ever seen in my life. This woman hasn't even seen the movie. And she's out there promoting it, and she doesn't know what she's talking about. I don't know if she remembers filming the movie, if she remembers what it's called. It's kind of awesome.
Oh,
It turns
man.
out that like two of the other people in the cast, um, when they and Screen Crush pointed this out when they got, I guess, announced that they were in the movie, they tagged at Marvel on Instagram. I'm like, I can't even like these people thought they were going to be in a Marvel movie, so I don't
Ooh,
even know.
that's
I'm
crazy.
flabbergasted, but yeah, there we are. So R.I.P. to the Sony Spider Verse. If this is if Craven
And
the
we haven't
Hunter is
even gotten
anything like this,
Craven yet. Yeah.
and but Aaron Taylor Johnson is so hot. Like if they mess up this movie, I'm gonna be so mad because I'm going to see that movie on the big screen because you know they're gonna throw him like he's too hot to not have like long unnecessary like shirtless scenes. So it's like, well, we're all gonna go to see him, but like, how bad is that movie gonna be, right? Yeah.
I
All
feel like
right.
after Venom, they're just making bad ones, and they just don't even try
I
anymore.
wonder if they're actually like trying to destroy the value of the brand. You have to wonder.
We'll see.
Anyway,
We'll just
that's
pick
my
it
little
up.
conspiracy. It's not really a conspiracy theory. I just think they're not great at making these movies. Meanwhile, we are at time to play the episode of Star Wars for everyone tuning into our Star Wars show. We are going to get into Star Wars Rebels. This is actually a really fantastic episode. And I feel like we say that every week, but this one really delivers on a lot of great characters, specifically with Hera in particular, because we get the return of her dad.
Yeah, Cham Syndulla, and it's hard for her because Kanan's meeting him for the first time, and so he's nervous as hell about it, and you know,
Mhm.
Hera's trying to show her father that she's doing good by joining the rebellion, and he's like, well, what
Yeah.
about Ryloth? Why don't you care about Ryloth?
Yeah.
So it's the whole thing. Their
A lot of
points of
tension.
contention. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the fact that he had to like give up her home to the Empire is just it's hard. So
Yeah.
we'll see how this goes.
This will be a great learning experience for her particular point of view. All right. Let's get ready to queue up our Disney Plus. We're in season 2, episode 16, Homecoming. Jeff, hit that countdown.
And we got a ship chase. It's all good. And a giant
Great way
star.
to start the episode. The ghost looks so good. Just
It always looks good. I love drawing the ghost.
what are they stealing now? So I didn't rewatch like I usually do because I'm
Yeah.
trying to get into the new headspace as we get ready for Clone Wars Revisited of what it's like going in, not knowing every detail of the episode before the episode, like we hit play. And there'd be sometimes, especially when our show first started, which now is like, man, a year and a half ago, where I would watch the episode like as soon as I got home from work. So like it would be so fresh. It would be like less than an hour before we went live. I had just watched the episode again. Like that's the kind of level of prep I was doing in the beginning. And then for this one, I was like, I've seen it enough times. Let's just tune in and without having a fresh rewatch. But I usually watch the recon episode
Yeah,
beforehand because Andy does a great job summarizing and you always get those
she
behind the scenes
does.
details.
Commander Sato, bearer of bad news.
So Sherry is asking about the adventures of Lois and Clark. which that aired on like CBS or like like
ABC.
ABC. Yeah, like
I used to
prime
watch it every
time.
Sunday night
Yeah,
after America's Funniest Home Videos.
this was live action Superman and Lois with Terry Hatcher,
Eh,
and Dean Cain, and Dean Cain. Ugh. But
he was
Terry
hot, but
Hatcher, like,
man,
yeah, we saw him at Rhode Island Comic Con. I think I
yeah,
threatened to throw something at him, and
you did.
yeah, I was,
Great.
and people are holding me back. So he
Oh, there he
that
is.
show though ran for years and I think was a great version of Superman. Like it felt very grounded. A lot of action happened at the Daily Planet. We got a lot of Lois, which I really appreciate because she's your way in as the
She was
viewer.
fun. Yeah,
Um, and I don't remember if did they actually get married in the show? They were together for a long time, and I feel
I
like they
think they
built to
do.
that. But I
I think
stopped
they do.
watching after a while. You know what happens once you're on for more than 3 or 4 seasons, you're going to lose a lot of your audience.
Right. You have to be the dedicated fans. I'm looking at you, Supernatural kids.
Yeah.
There he
Yeah, I
is.
mean, like, I like, I mean, you calm down.
Kanan looks nervous.
Yeah, meeting the dad. And the blue-skinned woman who's standing with Cham Syndulla is Numa, also from the Clone Wars. So like both of these characters are Clone Wars people, and Numa is being voiced by Catherine Tabor, reprising
Yeah.
her role, um, from the Clone Wars. And so is the voice actor for Cham Syndulla.
Robin
Uh,
Atkins Downs.
there he is. Yep. I got him to sign autographs for us while we were at Tops. He signed some trading cards, and I forget which set now, but we put him in a couple different things. He was very nice, and so did
Yeah,
Catherine. Catherine Tabor signed for us all the time. She was in a bunch of different things. Sometimes as Numa, usually as Padme, of course, from Clone Wars.
I got a SWOW autograph blind box, and it was a signed at CTV2 a few couple years ago,
Mhm.
and excuse me, my autograph was Robin Atkins Downs and the woman who voices Elaney, and it was their prison photo from The Bad
Oh
Batch,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
was so excited about that, and I was like, "Oh,
yeah.
okay."
And that's a specific audience who wants that. I can
Oh,
imagine like
I was
some of the
excited.
boys being like, "This isn't live action." Yeah,
This is
and
crap. Who are these characters? They're
yeah,
so secondary,
that
but,
always
like,
makes me crazy.
it's the
Wait, so
Syndulas, so it was
yeah,
important to me.
hello. Um,
Yeah.
Dave O'Neill. Who was Mark Hamill in Lois and Clark? Because I don't remember him doing a lot of acting in the 90s. Was that mean?
He was in The Flash, and he was in that. And then they also had, shockingly enough, Roger Daltrey played a villain in an episode
Roger
too from
Daltrey.
The Who.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, that was Flash. He
Okay.
was he was the trickster in The Flash, but,
Wait, the Flash show with
uh,
but
John Wesley Shipp. Yep.
yeah, Dawson's hot dad. So that's how I know him.
Yeah.
We were at a convention, and of course, my a couple friends who are older than me love him from the original Flash show. I never watched, and I walked by and I was like, "Who are you talking about?" And I was like, "Oh my god, that's Dawson's hot dad!" And that was the whole premise. That especially in season one of Dawson's Creek, John Wesley Shipp was just running around shirtless all the time.
Yeah.
Like, and meanwhile, this is a show for like teens and tweens and stuff. And it was like everyone with the daddy complex was obsessed with John Wesley Shipp. It was a whole thing.
So
I'm
funny.
telling you,
What a
Google him
kid.
in Dawson's Creek,
Yep.
and like a third of the photo results on Google Images will be shirtless.
Yeah. She's like, "I wanna see hot shirtless Dawson dad."
Yeah.
No, he's not
Meanwhile,
in the show.
this conversation with Cham and
Yeah.
Chopper, oh
Um,
man, and
yeah,
yeah,
Dave,
and
he was in Lewis and Clark too. He had a crossover episode,
hmm.
so that was pretty
Oh,
cool.
that's right. Mark Hamill played the trickster, kind of like being the Joker in his voice gig.
Trickster.
Yeah, this is tough because Hera isn't Hera's accent coming in and out. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
hello. It's like when you go home and you've lived somewhere else for a while and they just bring out your accent. Like my family
yeah.
does that.
Oh, I hear it with Jason whenever we go down to Knoxville. Like the twang starts coming out. He has to like watch himself, you know.
Yeah. It's
I
hard,
like
man.
this I like this
It's
tension with
wicked had. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, your R's just start evaporating, Ashley.
absolutely.
Um I
Oh,
like this tension a lot with Hera and Cham. He feels betrayed by the Republic, and he's like, "You can't trust the rebellion," and she's like, "No, that's why I trust the rebellion. They're trying to undo the damage that was caused by the Republic, which is now known as the Empire." Like he's not realizing that you know, um, she's actually trying to fix this, and
yeah.
and she is trying to do something bigger than just that affects more than just her own home world. But that's gotta be challenging, right? Like,
Oh,
he
she's so
sees
mad at him right now. She's like,
yeah,
"Bye."
well, he's not wrong that, like, they lost a lot, right? Like, it seems like is the mom dead? Like, I feel like she's dead. We won't say it out loud,
Yeah,
but, like, she's obviously
Eleni's
gone.
dead.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
Eleni's dead at
and
this point.
yeah, this is the kind of thing where, um, he doesn't want her to die either, and that has to be part of it.
Right. Ahsoka, stop. She's
There
playing
you
with
go.
my
You're
heart.
both great leaders trying to help people. Alright, good job, Kanan. He's able to find the common ground there. Very very good Jedi negotiating over there.
But also, you don't want your
Always though take the side of your girlfriend, always.
yeah, but you don't want your girlfriend beefing with her dad in front of you. That's just awkward.
Yeah, the animation is so gorgeous in this episode, and it's only season 2. It gets better
Yeah.
and better as the series goes, but, like, some of these shots, like, some of them look live action, like, the way that the ships and I feel like when they're doing space and ships, it just they capture it so well.
Yeah. Oh, faceless Imperial commanders.
The
You're gonna die. You're gonna die. You're
You
gonna
you
die.
gotta put your hat down like this, like it's this bad. It's like, "You
Yeah.
can't see me."
We don't have enough money to digitize an entire face. You're gonna die anyway. So,
That might be part of it, right? Is like, we're gonna
yeah.
save a little bit on a character model. We spent all
Right.
this money on these lasers.
Yeah. These cool looking ships. See, look, he has no eyes. It's so weird. Ahsoka, no. Stop.
We've seen that guy before, haven't we?
We see them all the time. It's funny. Ouch.
Oof.
Girl did it though.
Yep. Oh, man.
Like they're aware you're there, but you did it.
Any landing you can walk away from.
It's a good landing. Yep.
Initiate crash protocols.
Uh-oh.
Oh my god, the bombs.
You're so fresh. What are you doing? Watch the show. She's like, no, I just want to walk on you.
Oh, he shot Chopper.
Ugh, unacceptable.
Yep.
Get him, Soka. He's just like, ugh. Like, you handcuff your own child. How rude.
There's so much trauma in Star Wars. Like, you get into a minor tiff with your parents, and it's like, well, did they handcuff you to a ship after, stealing the explosives and knocking out your crew? Why is everyone unconscious? I'd be so mad. Yeah, Star Wars is trauma.
Oh, yeah. She spilled her bag of Cokes from Batu. Oh, bazinga. That's awesome. I love that helmet. I'm so glad I got it.
I blowing up the whole space station? I think that's the plan, right? I mean, we don't know that going in, but it seems to be the case.
Whoa. Like, you're on the same side. Why are you fighting each other?
Well, that's what the Empire does, right? They split people and worlds and um, families, and before you know it, it's that's how you right. It's a divide and conquer kind of thing. The Lasat and the Mandalorian. I watched that show.
Yep.
Cham is like vicious looking. I forgot how like cold his eyes, the way they've animated him, you can feel he almost feels like he's drawn like a villain, which I
Yeah.
like because in the eyes of Hera he would be right. He's someone who she has a lot of problems with. Oh my god, I love this force push.
Yes. Squad. Ooh.
Oof, wow, that was impressive. Ah,
Damn, Kanan.
yeah. Hera's like, what I miss?
Your dad and his friends are insane. End of story.
Oh no, the mouse droid. Oh, good. Then I can shoot you in the head and it doesn't matter. Like, that's the answer to that question. You have to kill one. Here's the thing there's five of them. You shoot one of them in the head, and then the other four do whatever you want. Like, that's the only answer to that.
Yeah, seriously. Huh? What? This is too funny.
This is the captain. This is terrible. Um, there needs to be a code for that. You can't just say abandoned ship. It's probably like protocol XYZ7. Like, and I'm sure they have to hit a button.
Right? That's insane.
I don't understand why they wouldn't want the casualties, but I also understand that from a storytelling perspective, Disney doesn't want us killing all these people.
At least she didn't kill him. You point a gun at your child.
Yep.
Ugh.
Why are we destroying the ship? I've fully lost the plot here. And I know some of it is that we don't pay as close attention as we normally do because we're chatting, we're
Yeah.
talking to everyone in the comments. You and I are like catching up. We're talking about all things in pop culture. X-Men 97 is playing in my head, but I fully missed the plot, you guys. What the hell just happened? So,
Ugh.
yeah, you haven't
Yeah.
seen what the Empire's done to our world. Yeah, we're aware. Selling our people into slavery. Yeah, that's Ula and everyone else. The ship must burn for everyone on Ryloth to see. Okay, I get that.
But debris falling on Ryloth.
Yeah. And you're right, Dave. The rebels kill people all the time. I think they were like season 2 wasn't quite as bad. Um it's still early enough. Yeah, the body count of rebels is really high.
Yeah. I think more so than Clone Wars.
here's the big question. Like, what's the right answer here? Do you blow up the ship and make a point, or do you get the ship because it's useful?
Ask Sabine.
I want to blow it up. I'm always on the wrong side. Where's
Make it
Sarah?
pretty and then blow it up.
Is Sarah
There you
busy
go.
tonight? I don't see her yelling at me in the
Yeah,
chat.
she's not yelling
Um,
at you in the
I'm
chat, so
getting
I don't
away
know
with
what
way
to
too
do.
much this episode.
But she can watch it later and be like, Mark, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm gonna see a comment where I'm tagged in like 2 days from now. Um, I was just watching something on about Doctor Who. It made me think of her because they were talking
Dark
about the
Gallifrey?
new season. Um, well, no, it was they had they were sort of doing like another recap of like everything that just happened for the anniversary specials and what we were expecting for the upcoming season and some of the weird things from the show that they hope they don't continue to pull the thread on. And one of them was like the doctor's so serious because he's like the last of his kind that it always feels so dire. And like the new doctor feels really fun. Can we
Yeah,
keep it fun? Like, can we, not be so serious on like all the
right.
time?
Yeah, they're working together.
Yeah, Numa would be a good recruit for the rebellion.
Absolutely. Oh no.
Oof. The animation is very cool with them like swirling in space. This is actually really well done because they have to work together and you need something believable for them to
Yeah.
achieve together. This actually works a lot better than we just watched the Lasat episode a couple weeks ago, and Zeb had to be a part of that thing for it to make sense, and I didn't like the execution. This really works. Both of them grabbing the wheel and literally choosing the same direction. It's so heavy-handed, but like I like it. I'm into it. Like they have to align together in the same direction physically and metaphorically, emotionally, spiritually, etc. Like it actually really works.
Why, yay. Chopper. He's like,
Yeah, the only thing that works are the ridiculous plans.
like this.
I will say this is a very good ensemble episode where everyone does something. Like we're seeing a bunch of like Jedi Force pushing, Hera's piloting, the dad's involved, Numa's there, they're all shooting together. Like this is good stuff. Oh my god, you really think that it's just like floating there?
Oh, shiz.
Yikes. Oh,
See, now all that debris is going to land on Ryloth.
well, the atmosphere should burn up a lot of it, right? I think that's just as effective. Enjoy this pollution.
I know.
I mean, everyone on that ship died, right?
Yeah, easily.
I'd have to
And then it's
think.
like the debate about like Endor was destroyed by the Death Star pieces and stuff like that. So
Well, a lot of it burned up in the atmosphere, but some pieces did come down, right? Isn't that what they said? And then how much of it was left in the watery moon for Rise of Skywalker? Yeah, that was a lot.
convenient.
Yeah. I'd like to apologize for knocking your crew unconscious and tying you up and
Not
just
trusting you to know what you're
generally
doing.
hating you. Yeah. Yeah.
Parenting
Yeah. Well, that'll be the
101.
day, right? That's like the running gag that like parents don't apologize for bad parenting, but they'll find something very granular to be like, "Oh, sorry, that thing happened that one time." I was like, we'd like to talk about the larger narrative, sir. Um,
Why I'm in
but look,
therapy.
in Star Wars, this is probably one of the better father-daughter or parent-child relationships out there. They're all terrible. I
Yeah.
don't know what that says about the people who work on Star Wars, but it seems like every parent-child relationship in Star Wars is broken in a way that's like horrifying. Sabine's family, Zeb doesn't even have one. Ezra's poor parents are dead. He has the best relationship with his parents. They're dead. Like that's terrible. Like
Oh, I know. Excuse me. It's like I think Sabine has it the worst though. Both her parents are alive, but her mother just like sacrificed her.
Looks like we might have a
Yeah.
frozen
Frozen Mark.
mark there. Well, hopefully he'll reconnect shortly.
Yeah. Just give it a second. Frozen Mark. Yep.
That's what we were saying.
I mean, at least he's not making a weird face.
Yeah.
He said his computer just shut down for no reason.
Oh, geez.
Oh my gosh, that sucks.
Oh, there it goes.
Oh no, that's crazy. Not as good as Frozen Spencer though.
Yeah, Frozen Spencer is a classic. Up here he comes.
Yay, he back.
He has returned almost. There we go.
Somehow Mark Von Olin had returned.
Has he? We haven't. There he is.
Hey,
All right.
we got you. That was so weird.
Everything just shut down. The whole like everything closed. All like not that I have a lot open, but that was weird.
So weird.
Well, it wasn't too long of a delay, but
Yeah. And then right as that was happening, Hicks had a knock at the door. Hello, I see you, baby boy.
Cat
Um,
hour. Kitty
yep.
can.
So that was our explosive episode of Star Wars Rebels. So what did we learn tonight? Sabine's dad, terrible. Not Sabine's dad, Hera's dad, terrible. Is he as bad as Sabine's mom?
No.
Yes. No? Maybe?
No.
Yeah. I think we should do that as a video, being like, who are the worst parents? So,
Okay.
all right.
I don't think that Cham would have sold Hera out to the Empire.
I don't know. I mean, look, there's a lot of physical violence in this episode. I just don't like him. All right, Sherry's taking your side, Ashley.
Yeah.
All right, so
Thank you.
there's a
Sherry.
show on FX called Feud, and this season is Capote versus the Swans. And I'm not watching, but there's very memeable moments, and there's one where Truman Capote, who is like a caricature of a person in and of itself, is yelling at the character played by Demi Moore, and apparently Demi Moore's character like accidentally shot her husband because she thought he was an intruder. This is all based on a true story, by the way. It's so
Jeez.
insane. But like at one point, she shows up to a party and he's just terrible to her. And I don't know what the whole story is, but like he yells at her and says something, and he's like, "And you're this, and you're a murderer, and you're a lousy mother." And just the way he says it, I've been saying it all week in my head. You're a lousy mother. So Sabine's mom, lousy mother, terrible mother, right? Hera's dad, pretty bad too. Like I think as we start ranking terrible parents, they've got to make our top 10 list for sure.
Absolutely. We should do
Yeah.
that list at some point.
Yeah, Dave O'Neill, best parents in Star Wars, Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. I think they're the only, and Shmi was pretty good. Who else we got? I think everyone else is terrible, like across the board, garbage parents.
Sabine and Hera and Kanan.
Kanan was dead, so we got Hera.
Yeah, but I
so-
believe in the Force and the Force ghosty ghost.
Sure.
So-
Yeah, Hera seems pretty good. Although she does have like the kid on like a battle station or wherever. Didn't she bring him into combat? So I don't know. Great parent, maybe a little bit lacking in judgment. That happens. But younglings are constantly being drawn into war. I don't know. There's different rules and stuff. So hey Peter. But yeah, I would love to do that list. I think that's actually a great topic for the unifying force. Who are some of the best parents in Star Wars and why? Or best parental figures. It doesn't necessarily need to be blood parents. Because again, I will stand by that Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru are like the best parents in all of Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
Does Jango Fett count as a parent. I mean, I guess he was a parent to Boba, but like also a parent to
Does
all the
Hunter
clones.
count to Omega?
I think guardianship matters. So yes, you can count all of the Bad
Okay.
Batch, and at that point, you have Hunter's really good, and Crosshair's really bad. Bad parent. um,
Nar,
yeah.
nar.
So I think like I think this list is short of good parents in Star Wars, and I think it's long on bad parents in Star Wars. Anakin Skywalker, terrible parent.
Don't even put him on that
Yeah,
list.
exactly. Killed the
He's
mother. Didn't even know the parents. Didn't even know the kids existed. You know.
Yep,
So things are going great.
so good.
Yeah. Oh my God, Hicks is demanding attention because I was gone
Oh,
for like an
Reynolds
hour.
says Django is a super dad. So many kids.
So many. Yes.
Oh my god. Yeah, you're
He's a
absolutely
baby
right.
daddy, is what he is.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah. So anyway, that was our this is like the Father's Day episode of Star Wars Rebels. Over here with
Oh
Cham
yeah,
Syndulla. So let's talk about what's happening on the network this week.
yeah.
Again, it is all about Bad Batch this week, you guys. So be sure to tune into Happy Hour tomorrow. I'm sure all the discussion will be around speculation as to what's coming on with Bad Batch. As you guys know, season 3 premieres on Disney Plus this Wednesday. They have not given
Ah,
us a drop time.
3
So
episodes.
my suspicion is that it'll probably be the normal midnight Pacific, which means 3 a.m. Eastern,
Yep.
that kind of thing, which, for Ahsoka, they had moved it back to like prime time viewing, but it doesn't seem like they're doing that for Bad Batch.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing that. I haven't heard anything about a drop time yet.
No, I haven't
Um,
either. If anything changes, you'll hear it first on the VCN. We'll be like right on it like that. But yeah, so make sure you tune in tomorrow for happy hour to chat along with us. Wednesday, as we mentioned, there'll be a rerun of the Daughters of the Galaxy. We're going to reshow the Hera episode because we know everyone's going to be watching Bad Batch on Wednesday night.
Absolutely.
Thursday. Okay, this is going to be really fantastic. So Thursday night is our VCN watch along. It's the final episode of Ahsoka season 1, episode 8, and we have 2 incredible guests. First up is JJ Dashnaw, and you guys have seen him before. He's been on the network. He is the stunt coordinator for Ahsoka, and he's bringing on with him his co-stunt coordinator Natalie Padilla, who's also the stunt actor for Night Sister Magistrate Elsbeth. I mean, come on, the lady
So
herself.
cool.
I
So
mean,
cool.
who has one of the best lightsaber fights in all of Star Wars. I mean, and she's not even
Yeah.
using a lightsaber; she's using the blade of Talzin, right? Like she's
And
going toe to toe with Ahsoka.
they have a guest host.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'll be on also. So yes, I'll be there with Jeff and Dave. So it's me, Jeff, and Dave. There might be one more host popping in, along with JJ and Natalie. I'm very excited to meet Natalie because we've never had her on the network before. She's
Yeah,
a
that's
first timer.
exciting.
And JJ's awesome. Go back and watch the yes, fancy guest host too. Go back and watch the other episodes with JJ. He and everyone else who's a stunt actor who's been on the channel has specifically talked about working with JJ because he
I
works
love stunt
across the
workers. It's
Mandoverse.
so fun.
I know.
Like movies don't exist without them.
That's why I love horror so much too. Like horror is all about like how you make the illusion real, whether it's
Absolutely.
practical effects and makeup
Yeah.
or the stunt work, like the stunt choreography, it's sci-fi action genre filmmaking and TV. Yeah, stunts are such a huge part of it. I still like annoys me to this day that there's no Academy Award for stunt work. Yeah. And yes, last week was amazing with Paul. He had some great
Yeah.
stories. That's Marok. Did we agree on a pronunciation? It's Marok, right? Or Marok? Um,
I just thought they said Merrick.
as Merrick? I feel like it was Marok or Marok.
Weird.
But either way, yeah, go back and watch Paul's episode from last week.
Gotta watch
He
that.
was spectacular. So yeah, and then we have the unifying force this week. Oh, and of course the Bad Batch after party, after show on Friday nights. So every Friday night, tune in to the boys, the group from Jedi Archives, doing their weekly coverage of the Bad Batch. We have 3 episodes this week, you guys. So episodes 1 through 3 of the Bad Batch, and they'll be covering that on the after show. And then starting next week, we will have the VCN Thursday night watch along where we do the Bad Batch, the first 3 episodes. And by week 2, we'll be all caught up. So Thursday, March 7th, we'll cover episodes 4 and 5. Thursday, March 14th, we'll cover episodes 6 and 7, and we're gold from there. So just follow us every week. We're 1 week behind because we're closing out Ahsoka right now, which is very exciting. So,
Very exciting.
Yeah, so make sure you come find me on Thursday. It's going to be a good time.
I'm so excited for you. That's gonna be a good show.
Yeah, it's a good one for me. I was trying to figure out when I could come in and like co-host with everyone, and then the only thing that actually really worked for my schedule was this Thursday, and it's going to be the best one. It's the finale, and we've got a brand new first-time guest, 2 guests, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to talk about. I mean, there's so much stunt work in this final episode with all of the
Yeah.
fight choreography of the zombie stormtroopers and everything, and that amazing lightsaber fight that I mentioned with Ahsoka versus Elsbeth. It's going to be bonkers. So anyway,
So bonkers.
that's it from us this week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching along with watching Hera exercise some demons with her dad. Because oh man,
'Cause why get family therapy in Star Wars when you can just shoot down a couple TIE fighters?
exactly.
It's fine.
Yeah, just shoot some people. It'll make everything better.
Totally
So,
fine. Blow
yeah.
shit up. It's fine.
Yeah. Gets
Thank you,
Ashley to feel
Sari.
better.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get
Next
some
week I will not sound like this, I promise.
deserved time off. Drink your tea.
Yes.
All right. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us this week. And we'll see you throughout the network for Bad Batch premiere week. Good night, everyone.
May the force be with you.